Last but definitely not least, we're going to be discussing looking ahead. Sukalp Sharma, the CEO of Mindfields. Welcome.
Thanks, Mike. There you go. All right, so like I said, we started looking ahead through the panel discussion that we had. So we want to focus and conclude this summit of ours with, so what are the implications? Where do we go from here? What are some of the trends that we are seeing that are aligned to this looking ahead theme? Praveen introduced the digital spectrum, which is how we want to and like to think about our services. So for the want of a better word, I think of the digital spectrum as having a dumb end and a very intelligent end. So at the dumb end, or not so intelligent end, is all the RPA services that we've been talking about. But we like to think of Mindfields as having offerings across the intelligence spectrum. But we want to have commercially viable offerings across the industry, commercially viable for our clients across the whole spectrum. So some of the trends here focus on that digital spectrum and the implications for us, and what are some of the organization challenges that lie ahead for human beings in terms of adapting to this change that's coming. So there's no doubt that there's change that's happening, and hopefully over the next 5 minutes or so, or probably 10, I will focus on that, and I'll conclude with a thank you summary as well for everything that has happened. All right, so look, this is my take on the automation spectrum. Now, as a consultant, as a management consultant, it is not me-see. So it is, the different categorizations have different problems. So this is not a perfect categorization, but it does the job. So most of the applications of RPA that we've been discussing here lie on the extreme left-hand side. So it's point-based. You don't have to cast the net wide. It does not impact 50 other applications that are running in your organization. You're pretty much operating a task or a process. You get in quickly, you get out quickly, and hence the quick ROI, hence the quick payback periods as well. So, and that is the whole appeal of it. Non-intrusive nature of technology allows you to get in quickly, do the job, and get out. As we move towards, so what are some of the limitations by that logic? So the limitations by that logic are where judgment is involved in the tasks. You're not able to do those tasks. Where there is unstructured data, which means that some document, you're getting an account number in a Word document, it could be anywhere in the Word document. Well, it'll be quite a challenge for the bot to figure out where the account number is, as against getting the account number in an Excel field, which you all know. And it doesn't have, it doesn't work where touch points are across the technology stack, or there are too many touch points, then invariably it's a pain to do that. That's where the next evolution is intelligent automation. So what happens when you combine a dumb bot with, let's say, a smart OCR solution? The OCR solution then has the ability to, or maybe NLP, which has the ability to process unstructured data, which is coming into it. You make some sense out of the unstructured data. So probably for the example I gave you, you take that Word document which has the account number, give it to the NLP algorithm, it will probably filter out the account number for you, and then you feed it to a dumb bot. So all of a sudden you're talking about the whole heap of next wave of use cases that make themselves available for automation. And towards the extreme right, what we have is artificial intelligence and cognitive automation. So this is where the big AI platforms come into picture, because now they want access to your entire apps landscape. They want your apps to be in the cloud, so they not only they can access the entire application suite, but they can also access the external big data that's floating everywhere else and make predictive and prescriptive suggestions to you. So ultimately, that's where we're headed. We're a world where technology will make us or enable those guided decision making possible. It has touch points across your technology stack. It can deal with unstructured data, and by that virtue, it takes that much more time, and the payback periods are long. So it's important to think carefully and select the right use cases for AI before getting into it. Now, there's a reason for this context, because the next couple of trends are based on this. So RPA is enabling the progression to data-driven intelligent enterprise. So the left hand of the spectrum is not an either-or proposition. It is basically enabling the transition to a world where we have guided decision-making. I'll take the example of finance, because that's what we've been discussing over a while. So this is a typical finance value chain, right? So you have your treasury, you have tax, you have routine transactions, and so on. Just the dumb end of the automation, the extreme left-hand side, is able to automate and make a difference in a big part of the value chain. Right. So this is what we're seeing, that routine transactions and so on. So the darker the shade of the green, the more the automation potential. So what happens is that if by leveraging automation we are able to create capacity and we are able to release dollars and release human capacity so that they can focus on other higher initiatives, then what happens is that if you look at a normal finance function, most of what we do is transaction processing. So routine transactions, all that dirt which has flowed from upstream and made its way to the finance system in the form of routine transactions have to be dealt with end of month. So long hours, and somehow get the end of month done, and then do the reporting over. So RPA enables us to expedite that and shortcut that. But then that is where it can free us capacity and dollars to fund that guided decision making and get AI use cases in place as well. So it's playing that great enabler role. So the key takeaway from that is that AI and RPA is not an either-or proposition. It is a great enabler, and having starting from the left-hand side of the spectrum is not necessarily a bad thing. Well, the second point I want to talk about is that, yes, use cases are increasing, and adoption is surging, so which has implications. So I don't want to bore you with the fine text here, but the purpose of a couple of those examples are that we have use cases across industries and across sectors, and these are use cases from organizations that have spoken here, either bots that have been developed or bots that are being developed. So the point is that if you want to make note of some numbers there, the productivity benefits are immense, the accuracy benefits are immense, and yes, they are all characterized by dollar savings as well when we talk about payback periods of less than 1 year, if not 6 months. In fact, Harpreet talked about the higher education use case that we have here. So what is the implication of that? The implication of that is if we are increasing productivity, which means we are freeing up capacity, we are freeing up human capacity. So there are, whilst a large number of jobs are being created, so people who are working on bots and enabling it, but a large number of jobs are also being redirected or refocused. So I don't want to focus too much on job being lost, but yes, there is some amount of entropy in the universe about this, and it's only going to increase. And which also means that adult reskilling will be a key focus area. So Amazon announced that they're going to reskill 100,000 of their employees. They have 650,000 plus employees at last count. So they are reskilling a big part of their workforce. Now, questions will be asked, are these workers that are being reskilled, are they at the bottom of the food chain, or are they the ones that are the smarter workers? So what about the others? So most organizations and even government will have to increasingly think about how they enable policy making to enable flexible working for workers. We have some of the tough labor laws here in Australia, but I think they will see some movement there as well because of these trends. Again, continuing from there, so this is very recent, fresh off the press. So Gartner predicts that organizations can expect AI and RPA to create an estimated $2.9 trillion in business value and 6.2 billion hours of worker productivity by 2021. Now, it's a very good number. It's great. Productivity is good, which means we're doing more with less. But what that also means is 6.2 billion hours of productivity means roughly 5 million jobs. It also means that, and this is just productivity, this does not count the like-for-like replacement. So there's a huge focus on change management that is going to be required to redirect and refocus this capacity that's going to be created. And human workers will, yes, we may not always like to do smart work, but sometimes maybe they will not have an option as well. We will be forced to do smarter work. It's not necessarily a bad thing. I always give this example, I love when clients talk about, well, I never knew that these people are capable of doing smarter work, which they're now doing because, we've taken the board out of them. What that also means is that, we've had examples and references to the different industrial revolutions. When the first of its automation started, if you think of work as a collaboration between man and machine, so we're using a computer to be more productive, we are collaborating with the machine. So that dial is increasingly moving towards the machine, and we have to adapt to be more productive and to be on the right side of this curve in this displacement that's happening. So that's another implication there for us and for us to keep in mind. Moving to the last but one slide. So attended automation is another trend. So we've not had much discussion on this today. This is where bot works alongside, or digital worker works alongside a human worker to create more effective outcomes. So an interesting case study, we did a pilot for one of our contact center clients. So this particular contact center has a government department as their customer. And the government department has a lot of very old people as their clients because of the nature of services they provide. So they call up the contact center to ask for support services, help with their gardening, with basic hygiene purposes and so on. And based on their particular situation, they have access to different packages and so on. So the person on this side of the phone, they decide whether they key in key details, and then some agency assesses the level of support this person requires. Now, the actual process was a person calls on the phone, the call center agent takes the information down on a piece of notepad, because the host Siebel system was very unresponsive, very unreliable, and very temperamental. You never know when it would crash. So they would take all that details down on a notepad, then they would ask the person on the other side of the phone to hold for 5 minutes. They would move that information to the Siebel system. They would hold for 5 minutes, and then give them the ID and so on. Now, the simple solution to this was, and they were entering 10 fields of information across 10 different screens, each screen having 100 fields. So it was a very complex exercise. So a simple solution to that was design a simple HTML interface which has only those 10 fields that are relevant to that particular type of call. And then once those fields are entered, the bot will go and put it in Siebel. So you're not losing, so you're saving HT, you're improving customer experience, you're not getting penalized for bad quality, you're not getting penalized for high ASTs and hence getting service credits. So we're going to see more of this as we go. So the digital workers are going to work more with human workers, and finding that perfect collaboration and that equilibrium is going to be the key here. So as human beings, we will need to get comfortable working with digital workers, and hence I asked a question to the panel as well. Do we see a world where we envision digital and human workers working seamlessly? And it looks like we won't have an option. We will have to do that. And again, the importance of change management cannot be overestimated here. So the organizations will have to invest a lot in change management. Now, I know we are approaching the pointy end, so I'll just finish with this on a slightly humorous note. It's been a long cherished dream of AI enthusiasts to get bots to be as smart as human beings. And we are kind of helping in a way by dumbing ourselves down. As bots are getting smarter there, and we are hooked. But anyway, on a more serious note, I think it is already happening. The divide between humans and digital workers is, all those things about KPIs, performance measures, bot IDs, bots having actual place in the organization, their performance being measured are all steps in that direction. And we're going to see more of that. And we will have to, again, think out of the box to further enable that transition to happen. And that brings me to the very important part of this. So I'll open myself for questions later on, but I want to thank all of you for your time here. I know it's a slightly, just after lunch, probably the difficult time of the day, but I hope, once again, thank you all of you for making it. And I have some special notes which I'll need. So I'll go in that order. So first of all, Mohit talked about the whole journey from the gold rush to the current robotics. So thank you, Mohit, for sharing your views there. Daniel, you shared your views on the whole journey of St. John of God and what you did well and what were some of the lessons. And this was very relevant because, and it aligned well with the theme because we were focusing on how could we have done things differently. So thank you for sharing those nuggets of wisdom. And Firas talked about an organization which has just started their RPA journey, and thank you for sharing your experience and the enthusiasm, which was very infectious for us. Then we had the panel discussion where we focused on the RPA journeys, and again, what things could be done differently. Given a chance, how would we structure it again? So thank you, Mohit, for leading that. Praveen, thank you. Week 8 into the organization, already designed 2 sets of products for us, so there's only one way we can go from there. So we're very excited having Praveen in our team. So again, the idea is that it all aligns with the digital spectrum we want to play in. So we were the first movers in the RPA space when it was relatively less commoditized. So we want to keep doing that. As more technologies come to fore, we want to make it easy for our customers to assimilate there in their organization. And things like data wrangling and data visualization, they align seamlessly with our core RPA offering. So we're very excited about that. So thank you, Praveen, for sharing your views there. And Harpreet, the agent commission example was great, so thank you for sharing that use case and highlighting the importance of, I'll use the cricket analogy, playing the ball on its merit. Yes, there can be some low-hanging fruit, so go ahead, do that. But if the opportunity presents to think about it and look at it in a slightly different way, we should go for that as well. So thank you for that. Raj, for sharing your journey about WaterCorp. Government organization, every organization has its own unique challenges, and the way WaterCorp have gone about it is impressive. In the course of the journey, we did discover that some things are as simple things, which may sound very simple, like getting access to the systems, maybe a complicated endeavor. But then the important thing is that we've built enough momentum. We've lined our ducks in a row. We now positioned the organization well to get the benefits that we've targeted. So, and God willing, we'll get there. So thanks, Raj, for that. And the panel discussion, thank you all for your participation in the panel discussion. Thank you, Abhinav, for your comments there. I think they were really valuable. Thank you for Raj and Raj for that. And once again, thank you all. Now, I know I'm the last man standing between all of you and drinks, so I will shut up on this note. And once again, thank you for attending this and making our Automation Summit a success. Thanks again.